My soul bows to you. Namaskar. Namaskar everyone, and welcome to day 11 of our 21-day meditation series. It's dedicated to total well-being. Yesterday I spoke about the power of the mental space and tapping into that. You have the intellect there, you have the ego there, and you have manas there. And manas is the part of the mind that is taking up with the senses. And so to control the manas, it's very important. And I brought to you the analogy of a chariot with horses and the charioteer and the reins that connect the horses to the charioteer. Charioteer is the intellect. Reins are the manas, the mind, and the horses are the senses. So if the horses are wild and untrained, uncontrolled, you can imagine what the ride can be. So when the senses are not tamed and not controlled, you can imagine what happens. The reins are loose, the mind is here and there, and the charioteer cannot control. So charioteer needs to engage with strong management. The intellect, the discriminating part of us, need to really be observant and watchful over the mind that has become wayward and uncontrolled because of the sensory experiences. The tasting, the smelling, the touching, the hearing, the seeing. Today I want to look at the mind and its association with the senses, because in the meditation, the mind can be so taken up with the external world through the senses that when you sit down, you cannot bring the mind into a space of peacefulness. And the energy that the senses work with and the mind, the prana is uncontrolled, prana is restless, so the mind is all over the place. So it's important to bring that energy, that prana, into restfulness rather than restlessness. So when the senses are engaged in the pleasure experience of the world, senses can become uncontrolled. So in meditation, we need control, we need management. We need management of the energy that is associated with the mind and senses. Of course, those who are very powerful in mind and with a strong intellect can detach from the whole experience and go deeper inside and manage. But those who do not have that mind power, they need to observe the energies at every level of being and learn how to manage them. And that's what I try to help you to do. When the mind is caught up with the senses, when the energies are restless, I'm giving support in how to manage these wild horses of the senses. I want to bring to your attention today something that really inspires me and fascinates me. And that is how we are made up, physically, energetically. The body is a marvel of engineering if you were to look at it. The geometry of the body is amazing. Left and right, 2 hands, 2 feet, noses, eyes. We are divided across the body, left and right. Look at the magnificence of that. And then when you study energy a little more, you realize that left nostril brings a cooling prana and right nostril brings a heating prana into the body. So you see left and right, heating and cooling, and the balance that is necessary. So nature is made around that duality, and we need to have the balance. And now if you observe, we have the 7 centers, energy centers within the body, which is magnificent the way it's designed. 7 colors of the rainbow, notes on the scale of music. 7. And look at how they are placed. Crown, brow, where the eyes are, throat, where the ears and the mouth operate, heart, where it touches, gut, bowel action. We have the sacral area, sexual power, and root, which gives us stability in the body. You look at those 7, and then the body becomes like a yantra, a sacred form for contemplation. You observe. So when you sit, and you sit symmetrically, and you observe every center of being, and you observe the energy that's associated with them, because the prana comes to every center. Prana, not air, and I'll discuss this later on. Air comes from the atmosphere into the body via the lungs for nourishing the body with oxygen. But prana is everywhere, and prana comes into the body through pranic channels that are called nadis, and they go to every chakra. So every time you breathe, you're bringing in prana into the body for nourishment energetically, and you're bringing oxygen into the body. And if you don't breathe properly, fully, then you are losing the opportunity of the oxygen that is necessary for brain activity and for the functions of the entire body. And also you're missing out on the prana that revitalizes the body. So when I sit to meditate, I love posture. And I love holding the body as a yantra and focusing on every energy level. It becomes magnificent, so I'm focusing with my mind on every energy level, so I can see the energy of every chakra. I can perceive or experience the energy of every chakra and its influence on the mind. And the prana there. Is the prana restless at the chakras? Is the mind out of control? Is the mind taken up with scattered energies at any of the chakras? And so it becomes marvelous just to look at the body in the way of a yantra and to meditate on the entire body with the objective of bringing balance to the energies. And the mind is the most powerful part of you at the apex. The mind is the most powerful part of you. It's where the heating nadis and the cooling nadis meet at the top of the nose. The brain is there, and the medulla point at the back. So when you focus there, you come into the mental space, and then you give attention to every energy center, like in a yantra. You go right down to the root and really understand. When you take your mind there, you're taking yourself into an energy experience at the chakra. And when you begin to observe those energies in your meditation, root grounds you in the body, sacral brings vitality into the body, navel fires you up, heart brings warmth and nourishment and grace and that feeling of loving being, loving relationship with your body, energetic touch. Throat brings silence, hearing, listening to the inner space. And mind brings you into that space of tremendous power to focus, to channel energies. It has guiding power there. So if you really observe the marvelous structure of the human body, meditation will be fascinating. So to manage the manas function that is associated with the mind, we need to give attention to every level of being in your meditation. So the way the body is structured needs to come into your meditation like a yantra. A sacred drawing. Symmetry. 7 levels. Duality. Heating and cooling. Left and right. Yin and yang. And when you learn to bring your attention to every chakra, the mind to every chakra, the 5 low ones. You have a chance to observe in your mind the energy experience there. If the prana is in balance or scattered. Am I struggling or am I centered? And you can work diligently at every chakra to really enjoy the experience that you will have in your consciousness with the energy of that particular area. And you can revitalize the glands associated with the area, endocrine glands, and also the nervous system of every area. So when you breathe oxygen, you bring more oxygen to the body to nourish the body cells. And you bring more prana to the energy centers that revitalizes the nervous system and the cells. How magnificent it is. That's the joy of my every meditation. I've learned to harness the energy of the mind and the prana and to bring balance in the meditation and steadiness and to hold the body just like a yantra with focus on all 7 levels. Understanding and appreciating the power at every level. Power of the mind, power of listening, power of touching, power of seeing, power of tasting, power of smelling. It's so magnificent to be able to hold a body in that appreciation that is divinely created, divinely designed. And when you look at someone who is really in deep meditation, centering, it's magnificent to see the beauty of that art that is before you. So let's go into meditation today with appreciation for the design of the body. Being able to observe the mind and its operation at every energy center. The power of the senses, the pranic experience there, the subtle energy experience there, and using the breath masterfully and the focusing power masterfully. That you may have that peaceful and energizing experience of meditation. Once again, this is meditation for total well-being. Let's engage in our practice today. With appreciation for body posture in your meditation, come into a proper posture. Aligning the body to the force of gravity. Keeping the spine as straight as you can, chin parallel to the floor. Neck comfortable. Hands in a proper posture. And relax the body completely. Now let's just appreciate the design of this body, how beautiful it is. Seven energy centers. Just begin to observe appreciatively. The mind at the apex, at the center of the eyebrows. The center, energy center of the mind is inside of the brain. So let's give attention to the mental space. In the awareness that we have 2 nostrils that we are breathing into. Left nostril brings a cooling prana, right nostril brings a heating prana. And when you focus at that center of the eyebrows, focus on that medulla point at the back. And observe how you draw prana into the body. Using the Ujjayi breath. Keep your awareness of the body structure. Don't lose the beauty of the body's design. Stay rooted at the earth center. So grounded in the earth energy. Stable pelvic area. Grounded in the mind. Hold the body in a proper posture. And just stay with the observance of the breath. Spinal column awareness, observance of the breath. Clear mind. Stay in the awareness of the fixed posture. And just familiarize yourself now with the energy of the spinal column. You have 6 centers from the eyebrow down to the root. Observe the beauty of them. Just observe with a moving breath appreciatively. Now the moving breath allows you to balance the prana. Give attention to a rhythmic breath, a breath that is engaged from the root center in the perineum area to the throat, back of the neck, center of the eyebrows, straight spine. You're observing the mental space and the operation of the mind with the senses. So if you think of the charioteer, that is your discriminating power, mental intelligence. You look at the reins, that's a tendency of the mind to operate. And you look at the senses, the experience of the senses. They're all associated with those 6 chakras. Mind at the center of the eyebrows. So when you focus on your mind, you should have eyebrow power. And let's familiarize ourselves with the energy centers and the senses. Throat brings us into hearing. So listen to that expansive space of being. Stay firm in the mind. Quiet, expansive, observing the prana. Heart brings us into the power of touch. Breathe into the center of the chest. Rhythmic breath. Observe the prana. Observe the effect in the mind as you focus on the chest. And here you come into the emotional space. So when prana becomes balanced, emotions, the energy of emotions, becomes balanced. So work with the rhythm of the breath. The more rhythmic the breath becomes, the more stable the prana becomes. Stay in the beauty of the posture. Stay in the awareness of how you're made up energetically and physically. Stay in the gracefulness of your meditative action. The breath, the mind. the consciousness. And then go down to the navel as you breathe into the navel. Coming into the sense of seeing, light, fire, vitality. Observe the effect it has on the mind when you breathe fully out and fully in at the navel. Mind becomes more associated with God power, God experience. Stabilize the prana there with the rhythm of the breath and the stability of the mind. And then take your attention right down to the root, perineum area, and breathe in with attention to the perineum area, opening up the belly fully. Perineum is grounding in the earth physicality. In the earth consciousness. And then give attention to the sacral chakra. Root brings more energy to the sense of smell, and sacral to the sense of taste, and to water consciousness. Now you are in the energy of the senses and the subtle association with the elements. Expand the mind and heart. That you may observe and experience more deeply the mental space and emotional space. Now breathing down with your attention down the spinal column at the front of the body, and breathing up the spinal column with the tip of the tongue on the palate. You are energizing all the chakras. You power up the senses, begin to observe them, managing them through the breath, through the mind. And through your discriminating power. Now the goal is complete peacefulness with the experience of revitalization at every level. Control senses, that the mind does not run away in different directions. The goal would be to bring the pranas in balance, bring the mind into restfulness and peacefulness. And keep the body revitalized and stable. And now you can give attention to the traveler inside of the chariot, the divine that is at the center of your entire being. The experience of consciousness is from the divine. The experience of power is from the divine. Begin to identify with the divine within you. In the awareness that I exist in the divine. Stay with the breath and the focus on the energy center. And allow yourself to be driven intuitively as you stabilize in the experience of harmonious being. Balance in your energies at every level. And here you can observe the weaknesses that may be there in your vital energy. Or your attention. Weaknesses are opportunities for strengthening. And just stay in the peacefulness of the experience. Observing the beauty of your posture, the marvelous geometry of the body, the divine Yantra that the body is. And at the center of being is a divine. And now let's expand the consciousness. That we may become more aware of the space around us in which we are existing. And let's harmonize with the energies of the space. Again, through the body and through the centers, energy centers. Mind is now opening up to the world around, and it's the world of the senses. So it's through those 5 energy centers lower down Let's connect with the world around us from our conscious being. Throat, space, heart, atmosphere, air, navel fire, sacral water, root earth. Let's harmonize now with the collective. In appreciation of nature and its role in the human experience. And let's hold the intention of harmonious coexistence with all of life, all living beings and all of nature. Let's hold the intention in our consciousness of harmonious coexistence. To be fully well means to be in a harmonious relationship with life. And now let our hearts be full of gratitude for this human experience and for the deepening knowledge that helps us to live fully and masterfully. In an enlightened consciousness. Let's be in gratitude. And let's create that powerful intention to stay aligned to that divine center throughout our day today. I center my consciousness in the source of my being, observing the beautiful geometry of my body, physically and energetically at the subtle level. Staying attentive to every level of being, I center myself in the source of my being, that infinite source of love, peace and mental power, vitality at the core of my being, and wisdom in the deeper consciousness of my being. I stay centered there, aligned to my divine self. I stay firm in that intention to stay aligned to the divine throughout my day. Let my every thought, word and action be a blessing to my world. I give thanks for all the blessings that I have received, and I pray to continue to be worthy. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Thank you everyone and for joining us today in day 11 of our meditation series. I hope that you can appreciate what I've shared with you today. I'm totally fascinated by the structure of the body, the design of the body, and the energetic makeup we have. The science is absolutely marvelous, and the left and right symmetry and duality, absolutely marvelous. So I love when I sit to meditate, I think of symmetry, I think of balance left and right, I think of 7 levels, I think of prana, I think of intellect and observing, I think of energy of the senses, and I absolutely love managing the horses. that the self inside will have the best experience on the human journey. There's a science to well-being. At the gross level and at the subtle level, we need to understand all of it. And that is at the heart of holistic thinking. A multidimensional thinking. I hope that you appreciated the experience today. Practice is the most important. Of course, understanding, that's why I ask you to go back and read through these things and keep a journal, because understanding will help you to deepen the experience every day as you practice. And we have 21 days, so you can see progress over the days. Don't let this information lie. Go over it again and again. And sharpen your practice every day. Every day your practice should be deeper and stronger. Your body should feel different. Your mind should feel different. Your senses should be more sharp. And life becomes more joyful, pleasurable, in heightened awareness. So I want to wish you a marvelous day. Looking forward to you joining us on tomorrow, the day 12th. Of course, we're in a countdown now of our 21 days. So we look forward to the experience of every day. Thank you, everyone. My soul bows to you. Namaskar.